Well, I'm broke. Lasers, 'cause I like sci-fi. Dude is 'cause I am a rat guy. 99 is 'cause I like Wayne Gretzky. That's why I'm lazy to 99. I'm a Batman fan, and I'm a Canadian man. I do top 10 lists, tonight ketchup chips. Hey everybody, and welcome to my review of In Time. So I went to see this yesterday, and when I saw the trailer for it, I had two feelings. If you don't know, the story is about this. It's kind of a futuristic world, kind of not. About everyone has the ability to live till you're 25. Once you hit 25. Your clock starts. Everyone has a clock on their arm, and you get 1 year. 1 year after 25, you can live after that. You can live 1 year after that. But after that, if you have to work for your time, and you work for your time, and you can live very long lives. You could live forever if you had the money, because nobody ages over 25, and you can live forever. And this is a story about this man who becomes almost a Robin Hood of sorts, stealing from the rich people who have millions of years or thousands of years, and giving to the poor who are going to die any second. So our main character is Justin Timberlake. I'll get to that in a moment. Our villain is Cillian Murphy. So basically, Justin Timberlake's character comes across this guy he's lived his life. He's lived 100 years. He doesn't want to live anymore. And he goes into the ghetto waiting for someone to just kill him and steal all of his time. And Justin Timberlake's character, whose name is Will, who finds him, saves him.
How old are you? 28. I'm 105. But the day comes when you've had enough. If you had as much time as I have, what would you do with it? Sure as hell wouldn't waste it.
And so the guy, while Will is sleeping, gives him all of his time except for 5 minutes, and then times himself out and dies. And so then Will, they don't want to give everything away, but Will goes and his mother dies. I'll get to that in a bit. And he kind of swears revenge on society and this way this world is working. So now I'll just get into the characters. Okay, when I saw the trailer and I saw Justin Timberlake, I'm thinking of two things. Number one, Social Network. When he was in that, he played the guy who created Napster, and you know what? I thought he did a pretty good job. The thing is, though, his character was a jerk. I mean, he was supposed to be a jerk, and he played a jerk real well. He was a really good jerk. But the thing is, it was hard for me to see, I wonder if he can actually pull off playing a likable character in a movie. It's like, sure, we've seen he can play a jerk well, but almost anyone can play a jerk. Can he actually play a leading man and make us care about him? That's the real question here. And then the second thing that I thought of is, what was the last film Justin Timberlake was in? Yeah, it was Yogi Bear. So, I'm not really sure, but the thing that really drove me to it wasn't him, and he didn't drive me away from it. It was this concept of everyone has the ability to live forever as long as you can afford it. That kind of drove me to this film. And so after watching it, I actually really do like Justin Timberlake. Well, not like saying I'm a fan of his or anything now, but I think he did a really good job in this. I actually did feel for his character, and it didn't feel cliched. I thought I was going to get a Jason Statham performance, not an Italian job like Jason Statham. I thought I was going to get a Transporter 3 Jason Statham performance out of this. But no. He's pretty good. The way they handle this character is actually really interesting. I'm just gonna say right away my favorite part of the movie. It's in the beginning. He's just got this 100 years from this guy, and so he's going to meet up with his mother. And he wants to celebrate. We can finally get out of this ghetto. And so he goes, but she doesn't have enough to pay for because the world, everything is paid with time, minutes, hours, everything is paid for in time, and she doesn't have enough time to pay the bus back, and so she's running, and there's a moment where, when the bus reaches the stop, and he's like, "Where is she? Oh no!" And then he starts running, and she's running, and there's a moment where they're running towards each other, screaming out each other's names, and you can just feel the emotion and tense of the scene. Like, to quote Alfred Hitchcock, there is no terror in the bang, only in the anticipation of the bang. And that's what I felt like this, where you're hoping, oh, please, don't let her die. Because we actually got to see her earlier. It's not like she just came out of nowhere and we didn't really know anything about her. We knew a little bit about her. We got a little bit of her character, and we got to at least see that he cared about her. And so when they're running towards each other, the music's going, and it's actually quite heart racing, boom, 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 and all that, And of course she dies. Now, so then he goes over, crosses all these time zones, because the time zones are like upper and middle class and lower class. The upper, which is New Greenwich, is the high society people who have millions of years and no time to lose. Have enough time for ever and ever and ever. Then, of course, you get the middle society people, which we don't really spend time with. And then you get all the low society people, where all you got is a day, basically. Or maybe, you wake up with one day, and you have to work and work and work to make sure that you live to see another one. Then when he goes all the way up there, there's a couple of entertaining scenes, him playing poker, that's pretty cool. But the thing that really, I think, so there's this girl character in it too, and she's like the daughter of a high society guy, and she's never really lived an interesting day of her life, right? She's always been just stuck in this very dreary place with only two bodyguards following her wherever she goes, and not able to do anything. And of course, you're like, yeah, I don't really feel sorry for you. Look at you. We're in this guy's in the ghetto where people are dying every day. Whoop-de-doo, you don't have an adventure. But, he ends up, these Time Lords, or not Time Lords, Timekeepers, which are, Time Lords I think are something different. Anyway, these timekeepers, they come in, they come and they take basically all of his time away till they can decide whether or not he killed the guy that they did, which I don't get why, because there's a camera there, and they see that the guy times himself out. That I kind of didn't get why. It should have been maybe more reasons of, maybe they just didn't really want him to have that time. They don't want people going from the ghetto to up. Anyway, Cillian Murphy's character, I don't know. He's kind of just, not that it's Cillian Murphy's fault. He's doing all he can with this role, but I don't think there's much he can do with this role. It's not really, I don't think it's written that well, his role, Because, like, they try... Like, one thing that is kind of written well is they try not to make basically a villain face. There actually really is no villain because we got our timekeeper, and he has a strict sense of looking at the world. Not everyone can live forever. I mean, let's be honest. If we had the power to keep everyone alive forever, the world would run out of resources. We would all die eventually. In order for that to happen, you got to make sure that there are people who stay in the ghetto and who die. Because we can't all live. But, you know, if you kind of think about it, that kind of philosophy is flawed because eventually there will be enough rich people living forever that would run the resources dry. You know? Eventually. Take a couple of centuries, but whatever. You know, you got that he has his standards of looking at the world. But, you know, if you think about it, if that's the case, if hundreds upon thousands of people need to die in order for a few to be immortal, then no one should be immortal. But that's not the way people think. People want to live forever. They want to live forever, and because of that, they'll let all these other people die. Because it's their life. It's kind of funny because when Will is having a discussion with one of the rich guys, he says, you know, I know people hate us for who we are, but the way I see it is just survival of the fittest. The fittest? More like survival of the people that just happen to have a whole lot of money. And when I say money, I mean time. Okay, so I guess I've said too much about the story. I just want to say whether I like this movie or not. I like the characters, and I like how Will and this girl work together. How, you know, of course she doesn't want to be with him eventually, but her turn is kind of more gradual and maybe not exactly. I mean, it's a little forced, but you know, she's never lived an interesting day in her life and never done anything of importance. And then this guy comes along, and now she sees there's something to do important. So it's not too unbelievable. There are a couple of plot holes. One of the first ones that bugged me so much when I first saw it. There's a part in it where the girl's father, who gets kidnapped, or I know who the girl gets kidnapped and everything. The father is then, he has like 20 bodyguards surrounding him. And there's a point where she walks into his big company, right? And she says, hi. And he's like, I surrender. And she puts a gun on the ground. And she says, did you hire more bodyguards, Dad? He's like, well, I needed them. And she's like, one too many. And then there's Justin Timberlake right behind him because there's so many bodyguards, you can't recognize which face. And he's in a bodyguard. That I thought was good. But then they go upstairs and they steal something. I don't want to give it all away. But they steal something from this high security building by just putting a gun to the guy's head and taking him upstairs. And then they leave the building. What? They just leave? How did they get out? You're telling me that those 15 security guards below that put their guns down when Will took them upstairs, were they like, you know what? I never liked him anyway. Screw him. What? How did they just go down the elevator? How did they escape this high security building? There should have been SWAT teams swarming the place. And just how did they escape? There was no escape. There was just, they took the elevator down. Whoop-de-doo. Oh, it bugged me so much because you should... Okay, if I walked into, a high-security building, let's say GM. Yeah. I went up to that guy that would not be interviewed by Roger Moore, and I put a gun to his head, and I took him upstairs to his safe, had him open his safe, and I grabbed money. Would I be able to just walk out of the building? No! No! I would not! there would be SWAT teams, there would be helicopters, there would be snipers in the buildings around me trying to take me out. And it doesn't even show them leaving. That bugged me a bit. And there's a few things that just... One thing that I'm not sure if I like or dislike. The movie starts with, I don't know how it happened. I'm not a history guy. But basically, this is how the world works. We all have this much age and blah, blah, blah. But basically, they say, I don't know how it came to be with the arms and people have only this much to live. I don't know how it happened, but this is just the way the world works. Like, on the one hand, I'm thinking, well, that's good, because we're seeing this world through the eyes of this character, and he wouldn't know how it started. He wouldn't be told how it started. But on the other hand, I wonder, is that just laziness? Is that just laziness? Like, well, we can't think of a good way to transition into how this world became to be, so we'll just start there. I don't know. It could be both, really. It could be both. And sometimes there's just something where they have one scene with just them making the guy and the girl waking up with her and her shirt off. Like, not that she was naked, she had a bra, but I mean, like, okay, you just had there just so you could have a scene with her shirt off. I mean, I don't know. That just bugs me when movies do that. Where just like, we'll have to have a scene with the girl's shirt off. One thing that I guess is kind of really interesting about this film is the whole concept of time. Because they have time stolen away from them and they're running out of time. Time is always on the clock. They're always on the clock. At any moment, if this time runs out, they're dead. They are dead. So it's kind of interesting that way because, you don't know. Well, I don't know. I think that the movie's beginning is solid and its middle is okay. I think its climax suffers a lot from a few plot holes and a few just not well thought through scenarios, especially the end with him and the timekeeper. I didn't think that was thought through well enough. It felt just like rushed to me. And how they steal this thing is just unbelievably absurd. But overall, I think I still enjoyed this film a lot. It was pretty fun. It was funny. And some stuff it's dealt with really seriously that I wasn't expecting. Like, well, I don't want to say with what, but it took its world pretty seriously. And subtle. They had a lot of subtle stuff. Like, there's a moment where when he's just got all this time from this other guy, and he gets out of this limo that he had pick him up, right? There's a point where he gets out and he starts running. And then he looks at his clock and he's like, why am I running? Because when you're down in the ghetto, every second counts. And of course, the time is just, it's a parallel to money. Time is money, because every cent is worth every second. And, it's very, very similar to that. The more... I don't know, it's a good parallel. And I'm kind of going on about this. I should probably just end this up. So, I think that In Time, it's a good movie. I don't actually like the title, though. My sister came up with a better one. I said, well, it should have had a better title. And she's like, what, Out of Time? I'm like, yeah, Out of Time. That would have been or Out of Time, not Outta. But, Out of Time, that probably would have fitted better. But In Time, it doesn't really work. But anyway, I'm giving In Time a 6 out of 10. It's slightly above average. The action scenes they're alright, and the story makes you think and gets you talking about it. So, that's something that you really want for a movie. Its climax isn't that well choreographed or done, I don't think. But, the middle and beginning are really interesting and I think worth the watch. So remember, guys, I'm LaserDude99, and if I don't like it, it's not worth it. See you around.
More.
I can help you get all the time you want.
You know we're coming to get you. risk giving it away.
Be sure to check out more of my other videos on my channel, and wait for more coming soon.